Hello, in this video I want to take another look at the Probuilder tools. So let's go to Tools and open the Probuilder window again. And we're going to click on the box next to New Shape right there. And up until now we've just been using cubes, and cubes are awesome because there's a lot of stuff you can do. But I did mention that there are other shapes we can make too. So let's take a look at some of those. For example, there are stairs. All right, you can change the settings. You can have them curved, or you can make them just regular straight stairs like that. You can make them wider or taller or longer, all that kind of stuff. So stairs are really useful, really cool. Let's take a look now at cylinders. All right, you can increase the radius. So if you want it to be wider or thicker, you can increase the number of sides if you want more sides. You have 32 sides. Makes it much more smooth looking around the edges. And speaking of smooth, you'll see there's a smooth checkbox. You can turn that on or off. Now you can see how that makes a difference there in the shape. All right, and I actually want to build something with this cylinder, so I'm going to make the radius 0.2. The number of sides can be 8, and I'm going to make it smooth again. And I'm going to build this cylinder. All right, and I'm going to assign a material to it. So make sure we're in object selection mode. Click on the cylinder, and in the material editor, I'm going to assign wood to this object. And I'm going to actually create a new game object up here, create an empty object, and I'm going to call it fence. And I'm going to drag my cylinder into my fence object. All right, so now my cylinder is a child of the fence object. I'm going to set the position all to 0, so it's in the center. And I'm actually going to Control D to duplicate this. And I'll just pull it over this way. I'm going to duplicate it again and rotate this one on the Z axis 90 degrees. Just pull it right about there. All right, and I will duplicate this one more time, and now we have a makeshift fence right here, okay? And now this is all part of one fence object, so we can move the entire thing around. That's why we make these all children objects of the parent, the fence. And one other thing we can do, we can go to that prefabs folder, and if we wanted to use this again, we could make it a prefab in case we wanted to put it in other parts of the level and just drag it in wherever we wanted it. All right, so that's one thing you can do with the Probuilder tools. You can make simple little objects like this. As you can imagine, if you wanted to make larger cylinders, you could possibly make a log cabin or something else like that. There's all kinds of things you could do. But for now, I'm just going to delete that. And I want to show you something else we can do. So let's click on the box again next to New Shape. And this time I'm going to look at the pipe shape. Which I think is one of the coolest shapes. There's so much stuff you can do with it. And I'm going to just make, let's see, radius should be probably about 9, I think. That'd be good. And number of sides, I'll leave all these settings the same. I'm just going to build something real quick here. It's not really going to be anything in particular. I just want to give you an idea. So I'm going to go to face select mode. And I'm going to select every other face. All right. And I'm going to hold in control while I click these faces, and that way we can select multiple faces at a time, which is very useful for editing. I'm going to actually extrude these faces out. All right, extrude faces. I'm going to set my grid and snap settings back to 4, if you remember the grid and snap settings. That way I'll be moving up by a whole cube at a time. And also, before I do that, I have to go to Object Selection and set my scale to 4. So remember, if you're not using a scale of 4, then you won't have to set your snap settings to 4. Whatever your scale is, that's what your snap settings would be if you want to move it one whole cube at a time. All right. And what I'm going to do here actually is I'm going to grab all these faces again. So I'm going to go into Face Select mode, grab that face, all except for one, and I'm just going to pull this up by 1 cube. I'm going to deselect this face, pull it up by 1 cube again, deselect that face, and again, to deselect the face, you're just holding control. All right, that's how you select multiple faces or deselect faces. All right, I'm going to go back into object select mode and assign a material to this object. So we'll make it brick. And I'm going to give it the layer of ground so our player could jump on it. And I'm going to move it down closer to the ground. There we go, that should be good. And I'm going to play the game real quick just to see what this is like to jump around on. So there we go, we have our object here. And I can jump on it, and I should be able to jump to the next platform. Yep, I can just barely make it. All right. So now you can get the idea that just with this quick, simple Probuilder tools, you can make all kinds of interesting platforms for your level and all kinds of different shapes, weird things you can come up with. So you can see here, we could probably turn this into a whole castle if we really wanted to, with this pipe object. You can make the towers for the castle with the pipe object. And of course, we can make the walls with the cubes like we've been doing. There's all kinds of different things you can do. Even with just a simple cube by itself, we can just stretch that into any shape we want. So let's set the scale to 4 by 4 by 4. And just by doing something as simple as, let's see, we'll extrude out this face, and then I'll just drag this up, maybe drag it out one more, and then I can extrude that out again. All right, and like, if I can just keep extruding these faces out, and I just keep shaping it, and eventually now it's like a bridge shape is already coming into my mind. Like this could be a bridge, or whatever else. It could be anything else you need it to be, but even with a simple cube, you can make all kinds of different shapes. So I just wanted you all to look at the Probuilder tools again. Remember that they're a really powerful tool, and you should definitely use them in creative ways when you are designing your level. All right. So I'll see you all in the next video. We're almost ready to get started actually designing a full level here. So that will be really fun, and I'll see you then.